Let's begin. Here's something that happens in millions of homes every single day. 2 kids, 1 couch, 1 remote. And within about 90 seconds, one of them is yelling your name. And you come running, because that is what good parents do. You sort it out. You decide who had it first, you hand the remote to the wronged party, and you go back to whatever you were doing. Until the next 90 seconds. And then you do it all again. If that loop sounds familiar, I want to gently suggest something. And I want to say it with zero shame, because every single one of us has been in that loop. The yelling is not the problem. The yelling is the result of a system. And without ever meaning to, with nothing but good intentions, we are the ones who built the system. Here's the quiet truth at the center of today. When we referee every squabble, we accidentally train our kids to do 2 things. We train them to tattle, because tattling works, and we train them to escalate, because the loudest, most dramatic version of the story usually wins the judge. We are not raising negotiators. We are raising tiny lawyers who only know how to appeal to a higher court. And that court is us. So today we are going to make one shift. Just one. We are going to referee less and coach more. And I promise you, that is a relief, not extra work. It is less running in and a lot more peace. Let me show you the difference, because it really is everything. A referee lives inside the game. The whistle blows, the referee runs in, makes a call, assigns the win, and the players just wait around for the next call. The referee owns the outcome every single time, and the players never get any better at the game because they never actually play it on their own. A coach lives on the sideline. A coach is not in the play. A coach teaches the skills before the game, watches closely during the game, and trusts the players to run the play themselves. The coach owns the growth, not the outcome. And that is the whole shift in one image. Picture 2 kids tugging on one toy. Now picture yourself as the referee, running in, deciding who is right, handing it over, walking away. Now watch that same moment turn. Picture yourself staying on the sideline, taking one slow breath and saying, "You 2 have a problem to solve, and I know you can solve it." Same toy, same kids, a completely different muscle getting built. Now, refereeing less does not mean checking out. I want to be really clear about that. It does not mean ignoring your kids or letting chaos reign. It means changing your job description. Your job moves from judge to teacher, and there are 3 skills you are teaching, just 3. Let me walk you through each one. The first skill is turn-taking. Most squabbles are really a fight about access, who gets the thing and for how long. So instead of deciding for them, you hand them the tool. You say, "Sounds like you both want the scooter. How can you share the time?" And then, this is the genuinely hard part, you wait. The first few times, the silence is going to feel enormous. You will want to leap in and fix it. Let the silence sit. A child reaching for their own solution is doing reps, and reps build the muscle. If they are truly stuck, you offer a scaffold, not an answer. You could say, you could trade off, or set a timer, or find a way you both get a turn. They pick. They own it. And next time, they reach for that tool a little faster. The second skill is naming feelings. A child who can say, "I am frustrated because I was not finished," is a child who does not have to grab or shriek to be understood. So you narrate the feelings in the room, calmly, out loud, for both kids. "You sound really frustrated." And you look worried that this is not going to be fair. Notice you are not taking sides. You are not saying who is right. You are simply putting words on the storm, so they slowly learn the words for next time. And over months, something quietly wonderful happens. They start naming the feelings themselves, and that, honestly, is the entire game. The third skill is repair, and this is the one we skip the most because when the dust finally settles, we just want quiet, so we move on. But a quick repair teaches a child that relationships can bend without breaking. Repair does not have to be a forced, robotic sorry through gritted teeth. It can be a question. What could make your sister feel a little better right now? It can be an action, like helping rebuild the block tower that got knocked over. Repair is the skill that quietly says, we hurt each other, and then we fixed it, and we are still us. That is a lesson that pays off for the rest of their lives. Turn-taking, naming feelings, repair. You are not solving their fight. You are handing them the tools to solve the next 1,000 fights without you. Now let me say the line that changes the most homes because it sits underneath all of this. Fair does not mean identical. So much sibling conflict is really a bookkeeping war. He got more, she went first, that piece is bigger than mine. And when we referee, we get pulled into being the great equalizer, measuring juice in milliliters at 7 in the morning, cutting sandwiches with a ruler. It is exhausting. And worse, it teaches kids that fairness means a perfectly even split, every time, forever, which is not a thing that exists in any family or any workplace or any life they're ever going to live. Here's the reframe. Fair means everyone gets what they need. Watch this build. A 9-year-old needs a later bedtime than a 4-year-old. That is not unequal. That is fair because they have different needs. A child who is sick gets the soup and the good spot on the couch. That is not favoritism. That is fair. When you say out loud and often, in this family, we give each person what they need, not the exact same thing, you quietly take away the measuring tape. And a kid without a measuring tape suddenly has a whole lot less to fight about. This is exactly where the money thread quietly begins. And it is honestly one of the very first real money lessons a child ever absorbs. Because fairness about dollars works in precisely the same way. Fair does not mean everyone gets the same dollar amount. Imagine the older one wants a $30 model kit, and the younger one wants a $10 set of markers. The referee instinct is to spend $30 on each, so it's even, so nobody complains. But the coaching move is to connect the money to the need and the want, not to matching numbers. You say, your brother's thing costs more, and your thing costs less, and you are each getting the thing you actually want. That is what fair looks like. And it lands even better with jobs and allowance. An older child who walks the dog and takes out the bins can reasonably earn a bit more than a younger child who feeds the fish. Different work, different responsibility, different pay. When you name that plainly and warmly, you are teaching a money truth that most grown adults are still untangling in their own heads. Fair is about fit, not about a photocopy. You are raising kids who will not melt down at age 30 because a coworker earns a different salary, because back at age 6 at the kitchen table, they learned that equal and fair are simply not the same word. Let me give you the practical version of all of this, the part you can actually use tonight. When the noise starts, before you move a single muscle, ask yourself one quiet question. Is anyone in danger, or is this a chance to coach? And most of the time, the honest answer is, it is a chance to coach. So you slow down, you name the feelings, you hand them the problem, you wait. And then comes the part that is genuinely hard for us loving, capable parents. You let them have the slightly clumsy, slightly imperfect solution that they came up with instead of the perfect one you would have handed down. Their wobbly, homemade fix builds more in them than your clean, correct ruling ever could. Now, here's the honest part, because coaching is not a rule you apply blindly, no matter what. There is a moment when you put the whistle right back in your mouth. The instant it stops being a fair fight, you step in. Immediately, and without a word of apology. If someone is actually being hurt, if it's bigger against smaller, if it's 2 against 1, if anyone is genuinely unsafe, that is not a coaching moment. That is a safety moment, and your only job is to protect. Coaching is for the ordinary scuffles between two kids on roughly equal footing. The bullying, the danger, the real cruelty,
You stop those cold, every time. Skill building never, ever comes at the cost of a child's safety. Full stop. So let me leave you with the picture I want you to carry. You are not the judge in the robe, sprinting in for every call, owning every single verdict. You are the coach on the sideline, calm, watching, trusting the players you have so patiently trained. You teach the 3 skills. You say the words, fair does not mean identical, until one day they say it right back to you. And then, on some completely ordinary afternoon, you'll hear it. Your kids working it out in the next room, all on their own, without you. That is the sound of the lesson landing. Referee less, coach more, and watch them grow.
If something here was useful today, the best thing you can do is use it tonight in one small way. And if you'd like to keep growing with us, you're welcome in our tribe at familycreative.org. It's where we gather the tools and resources we build for people doing this on purpose, and where you can learn more, share what's working, and help someone a few steps behind you. That's the whole point. Small, steady, together. Be kind, try hard, do the work, build the family. We'll see you in the next one.